Hello, everybody. Welcome to my quarantine TED Talk. I am your host, Jeremy Kabbalah, and today I'm going to be talking about a very personal topic of mine, and that is how I was able to overcome my anxiety through the discovery of photography. After I graduated high school in the year 2012, I had a lot of trouble transitioning to community college. I was not a good student throughout high school, and I barely made it through my classes, and there were some times where I had to retake some classes during the summer, and even through my senior year, I was barely able to graduate with my classmates. So by the time I made it to college, I was just completely oblivious as to what I had to do next. Although my anxiety did not escalate until I took my very first public speaking class. Naturally, public speaking was one of my biggest fears, so I wanted to prepare as much as possible to make sure that I wasn't going to completely bomb my first speech. I went to all the workshops and rehearsed the speech a few times with my professor and with myself before I took the speech. But once it came around to it, I ended up failing miserably, and I couldn't even articulate a single complete sentence, nor was I even able to finish the speech. As a result, something misfired in my brain. I felt like I was just completely dysfunctional. All of a sudden, through daily conversations that I would have with my friends or family, I had trouble to come up with complete sentences in my own head. I would start to overthink everything that I was going to say to people before I met up with them, and I would rehearse it over and over as if I were preparing for a speech. And I would overthink everything, what I was going to say, how I was going to say it, what words I was going to use, and it just became very stressful to me to the point where I just steered away from having any kind of social interaction with anyone. Well, I mean, I still did, but it was just an ongoing struggle, and I tried to avoid it as much as I could. It's not that I didn't want to talk to anyone, it was just that I have come to believe that I became so incompetent in being able to speak that I just felt so embarrassed that my friends or anyone that I would talk to would catch on and think that there was something off with me and think that I was weird, and I just didn't want to face any of that, even though I know as of now that was just completely an irrational fear. Down the line, I also started to develop something that ended up being way more severe than just being unable to talk, and that was having intrusive thoughts. And for those of you who do not know what that is, that's when you lose complete control over what your mind thinks, and it doesn't ever shut off. And sometimes you could think about really negative things that could either be disturbing, repulsive, and even upsetting. There would be days that I wouldn't even utter a single word. I would just be completely silent, and this became deeply concerning to my mom or my parents, since I would hardly get out of my room, and when they would try to talk to me and ask me what was wrong, I wouldn't say anything, and I would just grunt and shake my head. And there would be times where I would even try to practice talking to myself or actually hearing my voice, and I just had trouble even saying a complete sentence out loud with nobody around me. This had become so damaging to me that I was no longer able to go to sleep. There were several months where I got no sleep at all, to the point where I just felt like I was a mindless zombie, devoid of any cognitive awareness, and I just felt completely and utterly numb. I knew that being isolated in my room and being stuck in my head wasn't going to help me get over my anxiety, so I felt like I had to pick up a hobby, and that was photography. So I was just trying to find an inclination to get out of the house, and I thought that photography would be a good fit for me since it gave me an excuse to go explore the outside world and help me become more comfortable being out in public. But after going out a few times, I realized that photography became something very therapeutic to me because it helped me to focus more on my overall surroundings and try to think of how I was going to compose a shot or what were the shots that I was going to take, rather than just being lost in my own head. Obviously, photography wasn't the only thing that helped me out. My mom also did a lot of research in trying to figure out a solution to make me sane again. And after a lot of trial and error, we were finally able to find a good psychiatrist that prescribed me a medication that they actually give to babies. And they're just little droplets that you put in water, and somehow that actually really helped to calm me down, and through time helped me feel normal again. But yeah, I thought that photography was a good remedy for me to help me remain focused, and this ended up being something that I enjoyed doing a lot, and something that I wanted to explore more, and eventually got a whole lot better at it, I think, in my opinion. At least I hope. So this ended up starting to build my confidence, and being able to actually have a skill, since I didn't think I had any skills back then, felt like a huge revelation to me, and in turn helped me be more confident overall as a person. And it got to the point where I just didn't really put too much pressure on myself. And I just enjoyed doing photography, and I loved talking about it, and I felt like I finally had something to talk about, because before photography I had nothing else going on in my life. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up my story. As you guys can tell, this is not the same day that I recorded my previous footage, as my sad excuse for a beard has suddenly disappeared, so yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, essentially, photography has really helped me to focus more on the craft itself, and throughout all the interactions that I've had with the people that I've worked with has made me more comfortable with being social and not thinking so much as to what's going on in my own head. So yeah, I hope that helps some of you out, or I don't know if photography will ever be the answer for anyone else out there, but for me, it helped me out immensely just to overcome my anxiety. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, softly tap that like button if you like the video. You don't want to smash your keyboard. Technology's expensive. Also, wear a mask. Be safe.